Back in the day, I used to own a company by the name of DJConnection.com. And one of our employees at the time, his name was Anthony Bockham. And Anthony Bockham has been diligently listening to each and every Thrive Time Show podcast and every show and implementing what he's been learning. So he's been increasing what he's been earning. This guy's actually on the verge of selling his company for $400,000. And he joins us in the studio, live today, in the studio at Camp Clark and Chicken Palace, to ask Dr. Robert Zoellner, Paul Hood, CPA, and myself many of his business questions. He asks us about golden handcuffs, how to deal with negativity and the stress of owning a business, what makes Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Tom Brady super successful. He asks us about entity planning and so much more. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, you are going to love today's show with special guest, Anthony Bockham.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we
Yes, 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 and yes, Dr. Z, how are you, sir?
I love it when a show starts off with 4 yeses. It just
something beautiful about
it's
it.
just something wonderful, magical.
I have to ask here, Z. We have a guest on today's show.
Yes.
And this young man, Anthony Bockham, he used to work for me when I had a company called DJ Connection back in the day.
He was one of those guys.
And this guy, check out this guy. We have a lot of loyal listeners, but this guy pays you, Dr. Z. Dr. Z, this guy pays you.
He pays me?
He buys things from your auto auction.
Oh, yeah, very good. Of course. Yes.
So
he does.
he said, hey, I would like to at some point get on the show. So we've got Paul Hood here, a CPA with Hood CPAs. Paul, how are you doing, sir?
I am outstanding. What's up, guys?
Well, Paul's here. He's got the CPA knowledge. Z, you are an entrepreneur who was trapped for many years unfairly inside an optometrist's body.
I know. I'm still trying to break out.
And then we've got myself, kind of a man, bear, pig. I'll be the mediator. And Anthony, you can ask anybody any question that you want. And this will be kind of like an Ask Us Anything segment. And we have no idea where the show's going to take us.
Those are kind of fun. I like those because we have no idea where he's going to go.
This show could be an entire show devoted to why the Patriots, without Antonio Brown, continue to win. It could be the entire show.
It could be the entire show.
It could be about that. We don't know. That's what it could
I
be about.
have a feeling it's not.
Are you serving sandwiches? Because if we're going to go on that topic, I might need some substance, some food.
You didn't bring
or
your lunch
something.
pail with you,
I didn't bring my
Paul?
lunch pail.
Wow.
But if we're going to get that deep and that serious, I may need to feed my body.
All right, Bockham.
Hey, by the way, is your Porsche, is that new out there?
You know what the fun story is? That's the very first Porsche I ever owned.
Oh, really?
And I just bought it back about 3 months ago. I love that car.
You bought it back?
I bought it back.
How do you buy it back?
Well, actually, the fun thing, I sold it to my father-in-law, who old manned it. He pulled it out of his garage and washed it and put it back up. And then he sold it to a friend of mine. And so I told him, you ever sell that car, you better call me. So he called me a few months ago. I got it back.
Now, how long ago was that you originally owned it?
Really, yeah.
It's a 2001. I think I had it in 2005, 2006. So it's probably,
Is it, I didn't really see it. I just saw it from the upstairs up here. Is it a 911 or is it a...
it's a 911.
Cool.
Yeah, convertible. Orange, of course.
That vehicle is as beautiful, Z, as your son, Bo.
It is.
You know what I mean?
It's
When
almost
I
like...
came into the studio today, I saw Bo Zoellner, and I realized, we're in for a great show.
We're in for a great show.
You could feel that. You could feel like the force.
It takes it another notch.
Do you think, which one of you do you think is more beautiful? Do you think that you are more beautiful or Bo? You're in your prime. Because right now, you're just now hitting your prime right now.
Hands down, Bo is.
Does he have your calves, though? I don't think he does.
I don't know if we want to do a calf off. We could do a calf off.
Well, I'd say, we'll talk about that later. So we've talked about the Patriots. We've talked about regifting or rebuying a Porsche. We've talked about Bo's beauty. Really, we can wrap up the show.
I know.
Go home now.
And we got in the color orange, which is
wow.
So it's
And I referenced the Porsche.
It's an exciting start.
The
to
pentaveret of big subjects has been covered.
I know.
Okay, Anthony, what questions do you have for us, my friend?
Well, I brought a lot of questions, but I went ahead and highlighted a few here because
we'll answer all of them.
There were so many of them, so good ones.
Here we go.
Okay.
And as a prominent donor of the Dr. Z
now you want to make sure you eat that microphone like it's like you have an addictive urge to physically touch the microphone, right, Z?
In fact, if your lips aren't touching it, you're not close enough.
Awesome. Well, as a prominent donor to the Dr. Z Travel Fund, I figured I would start with you with the question here. And first one is, how do you get over the challenge of online e-commerce in your frames, with your frames at the optometrist clinic? How do you get over people just coming in, shopping, leaving, and buying online?
Wow. Ooh, give me a little sound effect there.
Oh, you want
this just in?
Let me do this. Let me cue up the music that allows you to calibrate and kind of formulate your thoughts. That way you're ready with a hot answer. So he's saying with your optometry clinic, there's brands out there that are online now selling frames, selling glasses, and he would like to know, how do I overcome the challenges of competing with online retailers?
Overcoming mindset. Well, two things. One, we have to be very proactive, and we make sure to let everybody know about our warranty, our free frame warranties, and the benefits from buying from me. In the sense, we do free adjustments, we do have a free warranty, and we're very cost competitive. A lot of those places out there that sell online, very little of it is actually due to the cost. Most of it is due to the convenience, or they think the selection, or it's like the experience. And more people are going online to do that in the privacy of their own home. They can shop in their little pajamas, right? So we try to be proactive and assuming that they're going to think about that or do that. And so we try to get them sold on glasses that day and tell them the benefits of why they should buy here. And then number two, I'm actually starting to build a platform where I can sell my stuff online to not only my own patients, to other patients. So when I see a great idea out there like that, like it's like, back in the day, why didn't we do Amazon? Huh, Clay? Why didn't we do Amazon?
Well, one, I think it'd be like 1996, maybe 96, something when Jeff Bezos got started. So that would have meant that I would have been 16, and I was still a jerk. And I think you were really getting deep into optometry. With 1986, were you building the Memorial location?
No, 96 it had been open. I actually was now in 96. I was starting the. I bought the auto auction, the first one that I bought, and was starting that one. So I was starting to diversify a little bit more.
When were you running guns? Was that 95? When were you running guns illegally from Mexico? From Guatemala?
Allegedly.
That was back in the 80s.
Oh, in the 80s.
I mean, school tuition does take a bite.
There is no excuse for not doing it then. We should have done it. Paul Hood, what advice would you have for him about overcoming?
Well, the question I had was for Dr. Z is, okay, so I can't just go online and buy glasses. I have to have my prescription, correct? I mean, so they can't get their prescription online. They come to you, and then you fill that need.
Right. And so we have them in our office, and so it's shame on us for not selling them. I mean, and so they come in to get their prescription, and then a lot of times they'll say, well, I'll come back. We know what that means. In other words, I'm going to go online. And so the other day, someone asked me about some of the online, that are selling glasses. I said, what do you think about that? I said, well, the only thing I'm upset about is that I didn't think of it first. True story. Back in the days, I was in negotiations to buy a phone number. What? What are you saying? You can actually buy a phone number? Yes. It spelled out 1-800-CONTACTS. And I was in negotiations. This was back in 95. A gentleman was out of Colorado, I believe Denver. I called the number. You kind of spell it out. And the guy answered, hey. And I was like, hey, I want to buy your phone number. And so we started negotiations. He actually shot me $100,000. I shot him back $50,000, and let the games begin. Well, before I could finish, I actually had another kind of career path move that I went down, and so I didn't buy that phone number. And now 1-800-CONTACTS is a thing. So I was on the cutting edge of that. That was almost my phone number.
What year were you thinking about buying this number from the gentleman who lived in Denver?
1995.
95. Okay, I've got the audio here of. It seems like I think this was a concert. You two met up to negotiate together, and you guys.
I don't remember. Of course, you probably have it recorded.
This is the concert.
Oh wow!
You go to a John Denver concert?
Oh, yes, of course. Of course we were.
Hey, meet me at the John Denver concert, and we'll agree on a price.
Oh, there you go.
That's an interesting negotiation strategy.
Well, I try to pull out all stops, you know.
Wow,
I figure, hey,
that's
if he's
impressive.
from Denver, John Denver, kind of loosen him up a little
I
bit.
have a thought about the online thing real quick. I have a very hot take here. You got to win where you can win. I think, as an example, if you're at a place, Z, where you built up your war chest to a point that if you want to spend the money needed to code out and build a very competitive online buying experience to go beat somebody on a national level or regional level, you can do it.
Right.
However, there's a listener out there right now, and if you can't afford to do that, you're not going to out Harry Razors. You're not, Harry's Razors is a big company. You're not going to outdo them right now.
Correct.
So you got to find the place and the space where you can win. And so Warby Parker famously started the online glasses revolution. But let me tell you about these homies. These homies realized they couldn't compete with a guy like Dr. Z. They couldn't do it. They didn't have the convenient location. They didn't have the staff that was knowledgeable. They didn't have the retail environments. They're like, let's just put them up there and see how cheap we can sell these things, and let's just see what can happen. And that was like their way to win, was kind of undercutting. And I'll tell you this, for me personally, I didn't want to buy glasses online because I want to go try them on, see them, get my prescription updated all at one time. And so if you're out there and you have you're going head to head in the marketplace in some capacity with some online retailer, ask yourself if you can win. And if you can't win online, create a great experience, an awesome experience, an actual online in-person experience that will wow people enough to make them not want to go online. Because if you're trying to convince your people to buy from you at the store level and your store experience is terrible, people are not going to come back. So find where you can win and win there. Anthony Baca, what is the next question that you have, my friend?
Come on, come in hot. Come on. What you got?
Kind of related to that, you mentioned the career path, the diverging, and that implies multiple businesses, right? So I'm curious, how do you decide what business to get involved in, but most importantly, which people to partner with to run the business in terms of a managerial or business partnership?
Two-part question?
Yep.
Let's go part one real quick. I have a dense mind.
So most importantly is, how do you choose the people that you choose to give equity to and or the control of your business?
Okay, so Dr. Z, how do you choose which people to give equity to and to put in charge of running the business? And maybe they're different people. What would you say for Mr. Anthony?
Number one, it's somebody that I know, someone that I've spent time with, someone that I trust, someone that a lot of times I'll find the individual before I find the business. In other words, I'll find someone and go, this is the kind of person I want to be in business together with. And then you build a business, maybe even around them, or you go and you acquire a business, or you go and you say, hey, would you like to do X, Y, Z? And that's what I've coached. I coached up my brother on this, and my brother, a lot of times he found someone who was great. He was an exterminator. And he came to his house, and he was an employee of a business, and he was a really sharp guy that got along well. And next thing you know, Philip, my brother, is talking to this gentleman saying, hey, have you ever thought about having your own exterminating company or owning a little piece of it with me? And he's like, well, that sounds like a great idea. I don't know how to do all that. He goes, well, let's talk. So he left his employment, came on board with my brother. He was an expert at that. My brother knew nothing about exterminating, but knew this guy was good stock, the kind of guy that he would like to go in business with. Juiced him in, gave him a percentage of the business. Up they run it, and now they have, 6 exterminating trucks and Zoellner exterminating and running around town and all that.
Killing bugs.
So a lot of times,
killing.
A lot of times for me, Anthony, I would actually find the person first, and then I would find out, like let's say they're a great employee of a business, right? So if I was ever going to, say, get into the restaurant business, which I don't really anticipate, though you never know, I would find someone now that's maybe the general manager or is a rock star at a restaurant that I really like. And that, over the course of years of getting to know this person, or months or whatever, eating there and being served by this person, then you go up to him and you say, hey, have you ever thought about having a restaurant? Well, in fact, I have. I just don't have the money. I don't have the means. I don't know where to start. Well, let's talk. And so, for instance, I had a guy one time contact me about being my banker. Met him at one of these, Fellowship of Christian Businessmen lunches. I was speaking at that event. He came up afterwards and gave me his business card. Got to know him. We went to lunch a few times, and he was wooing me to try to get my banking business. And I finally looked at him and I said, "This is crazy. Why don't we just go? Let's go get a bank." And he said, "That's actually a great idea, and that's a life goal of mine." And really? And I go, "Yeah." So a lot of times you find someone in an industry and you really like them, you connect with them, you trust them, and you get along with them. I mean, because I wouldn't want anybody running one of my businesses and being a partner with me, if you will, that I didn't like, that I wouldn't want to go hang out with.
Okay, real quick, I want to make sure this is big. This is really big. One, you said you're not going to partner with someone you don't like.
That is correct.
Please continue sharing, because I see people all the time working with people who are smart, who are skilled, who are Antonio Brown. And everyone everyone doesn't like him. We're tired of hearing about him. We're tired of him texting. We're tired of him going on social media. Yeah, you're athletic. Yeah, you're talented, but get off the Patriots. Come on, man. Quit peeing in our pool. There's somebody out there right now who has somebody who you're working with, who you're thinking about partnering with, Z, who's super talented, but you don't like him.
Yeah, if you won't go out and do a happy hour with him, if you won't go out and do lunch, and if it's kind of a chore to you to do that, that's not your huckleberry. You want someone that you look for, and the phone rings, you look down, and their name pops up on you, go, oh, yeah, smile on your face, answer the phone, right? So many people out there are good at what they do. They just don't match well with you and your personality. And so for me, I kind of know that now. I've done this plenty of times. A lot of times someone will come up and want to just Shark Tank me out of the blue. I don't know that person that well, so I don't really go into those kind of things so much. Sometimes I'll give them advice, but that doesn't mean, even if it's a great idea, business idea, I don't always say, yeah, you're my guy, let's go forward. And what was your name again? I mean, so for me, I want to get to know them, have a relationship with them, develop a friendship with them, say to myself, a friend's really someone you spend time with. You don't have to, right? And so if I find myself drawn to that kind of person, and then also I like their skill sets, then that's when that gear kicks into my brain.
You bet. Z, don't you think, though, internally, because we face this a lot in the service type business where who's going to be a partner, who's not going to be a partner. And so you design a process. So it's not just, yeah, that's a partner right there. You create, first they need to overwork, and they need to work more than what they're getting paid for. Second, you create incentive-based pay, because a lot of times people don't really care about being a partner. And if you don't have to give up equity, why would you give up equity? Because it leads to issues. I've got a client right now, 2 people that are great friends. Their business has grown to a point. They're making a lot of money. One of them wants to keep running. Well, they're at an impasse because they're partners. One wants to coast and one wants to go. And so you create incentive-based pay, and that may keep them happy. If it doesn't keep them happy, then you create a system to where they earn being your partner. And so you can groom somebody, but you typically, I think what Z is saying, whether it's a new business or an existing business, you don't have to groom a partner. A partner is going to groom themselves, or a business owner or whoever's going to have equity is going to groom themselves, but they're going to go through the process of doing extra, going beyond, over-delivering. And then you create incentive-based pay to keep them in incentive and create incentives for them. And then maybe they become an equity type person.
I have a few more notes on who to partner with, Z, and feel free to one-up me. But first, I have audio of your brother's extermination company.
Oh, okay.
Could you share the name of his company one more time? For the
Zoellner Exterminating. It's really original.
How do you, if you were to spell the name Zoellner, could you spell like it's a good spelling bee, Z, for the listeners who are going to type this in right now?
Zoellner.
Zoellner.
Yes.
Okay. So this is audio of your brother killing bugs on.
Okay.
I think this was Thursday. No, this is the Tuesday clip. This is Tuesday.
Okay.
And his name's Philip, right? And
correct. One L. Make sure you only get
Philip with one
L.
L. He's passionate about removing bugs, and Paul has a big old house, about 25,000 square foot house. Paul, new house.
That would be a big old house.
And
yes.
you called. You think I understand the story. You called and said, "Hey, I got a 25,000 square foot house, and I've got a few bugs. It's starting to turn fall here.
Yes.
Bugs are wanting to come inside. Send out the best you've got. Give me the Zoellner special." And Philip says, I'll spell my name with one L, but I'll give those bugs hell. You know what I mean?
Come on.
And so this is what he says. He sends in a crew, and this is what they were doing. And let me just kind of cue it up here. Seems a little.
What are they shooting them?
Sounds like they're using six-shooter.
He put a guy up in a turret up here, it seems like he's mounted up there on the 6th floor of Paul's.
I just looked at your screen. That looks like a jihad character in the Middle East shooting random.
Oh, wrong clip. Paul, you misled me. Okay.
I don't think that's an extermination. That's a different kind of extermination going on there.
My bad. Okay. All right.
But Anthony, also to follow up, one of the biggest questions I was always asked when I would hire a new optometrist, a new doctor, and they'd be fresh out of school or a year or two out of school. I tried to get them a year or two out, They'd always ask me, the big question was what? can I own a piece of this someday? And I would look at them every time and say, no. And then they'd just be like, you couldn't even lie to me and tell me that there's a possibility. I mean, you could tell they were just like, looking at me like, well, what?
Surely you can't be serious.
Yes,
I am serious.
I actually
don't
was.
call me Shirley.
And I told them every time, stop calling me Shirley. But so here's what I would say to them in their confused look on their face. I would say, here's the reality. One, it's an ongoing business.
Come on.
And to value it, we could bring 100 guys in here and they'll come up with 100 different values of the company. So as far as you buying into it or owning a piece of it, getting the exact amount is going to be tough, number one. Number two, I'm never, ever, ever, ever going to give up control of my baby. I'm just not going to do it. And it's always going to be weighted in my benefit. In other words, if you leave, I can buy you out. So I said, if you want to I'll pay you some money. And if you want to go invest in any other company out there that sells public stock, that's what you can do. And you can own a piece of whatever you want to own. But you're never going to want control this optometry clinic because it's mine. It's my baby, right? And you'll always be a minority. And then if you ever leave, it's going to be the language in the contract would be that I could buy you out for what you paid or whatnot. It's always going to be weighted in my favor.
Right.
So why on earth would you want that now? I said, here's the caveat what I'll do, though. And what I have done is I open up new businesses. Now we know we're on a fresh start here. In other words, say it's going to take $200,000 to open up a new business. I go to my employees that are long-term with me that I like, have worked well, like Paul said, they've worked their way into favor with me.
They smell good.
And I go to them and say, hey, listen, guys, you guys want to own a piece of this? And so now I have some of my optometrists actually making as much money or more in the investments in other businesses that he's done with me over the years than he does as a salary from the optometry clinic.
That's
good.
And
I say, listen, because here's the deal. It's bottom floor. We're all in this together. Whether it's successful or not, and they're always going to be successful, right? Because you have to have that mindset, no plan B, right? You got to burn the boats and take the island. So I say, listen, if you guys want to start off, then you could start off, and let's say it's a $200,000 to start. If you want to own whatever percent, 10%, $20,000, come on board, and then we'll grow this together, right? You don't have to be the management. You don't even have to run it. You can actually be a part owner in it. And so that's one of the things I do. So I dangle that carrot out in front of new doctors or new employees, if you will, at the high levels. And then I also say, listen, once it's an ongoing business, there's no more selling off of it, okay? Does that answer your question as far as now which business to open? A lot of times is predicated by what that person does. Like when the banker came to me, we went and bought a bank. When, like my brother, example of the exterminating company, they started exterminating company.
I think it's really one thing you do too is Dr. Zoellner's good at this, is you don't start a business with someone who could change. Like you don't say this guy's been dysfunctional ever since I've known him, but I'm betting on him having a huge life change, and this business will be the catalyst to do it. You've said it a lot on the show. People change seldom.
They do.
I see you look for people that have high integrity, that get it done. I also see you avoiding like the plague people that are not consistent, people that are just flighty, flaky, people who are like they act like they have this magic and that you owe them some kind of investment because they have an idea.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You avoid those people.
I avoid those people like the plague.
Anthony, I think the bottom line answer to your question is I think a lot of businesses think they've got to look for partners prematurely. And for instance, my CPA practice, the average CPA out there, whether you're a partner in a firm or you own your own firm, they'll generate about $400,000 to $500,000 a year worth of business. And if they do that, they think they're killing it. Well, I own 99% of my practice, and we'll do about $5 million this year. So I have a partner because I don't want to sign these certain audits. But I've got people that work for me that make more than most partners in other firms because we've created the ability to have incentive-based pay, and they don't care whether they're partners or not. They want, and like Z says, they get paid today for extra work, and then they can go invest in other things. It's just so I think actually you don't really need business partners per se.
And so many people think that owning part of the business is the end all, where if it is a percentage-based pay, in other words, the more you work, the more you provide, the more you generate, the more money you make. That's really the mindset you want. And so sometimes giving some golden handcuffs is appropriate. And golden handcuffs would be, okay, you're going to maybe sweat equity, a percentage of the business for the first 5 years. If you leave, it all comes back to me. If you stick around 5 years, it'll be vested and you get 5% of the business. I mean, so sometimes you get a rock star that you want to hang on to. You want to golden handcuff them down because you don't want to compete against them. You don't want your competition to steal them. You know, there are those times that you find someone that's an exceptional.
Golden handcuffs, baby.
Golden handcuffs, baby. Yeah. And that's for the employer. And here again, the business owner, if you're listening out there, folks, what you do is you can give, like, you can always go to an attorney if it gets confusing to you, and they can help you write the contract. But what you do is you give them a little piece, sweat equity, as we call it, as part of your salary, part of your bonus, part of your structure that you're paying them. But it only vests after so long. And if they leave anytime before that, they get nada. Yeah. And so that's how you can try to keep employees long-term for long ways. And then after that, you're like, well, who's
Nada? And how much is Nada worth?
Nada? Oh, he's one of the Nada brothers.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
Billy Nada.
Anthony,
Carl Nada.
We actually consult with clients for that. For instance, we just put in a plan to where he's got a couple real key employees, and a golden handcuff just means it's non-qualified, and we won't go into that, whether it's deductible or not deductible. But with these two people, what happens is he says, if you work for me till you're 65, one of them's 15 years, one of them's 17 years, when you turn 65, we're going to pay you $3,000 a month retirement for the next 20 years without you putting anything in. If you die while you're working for us, we're going to give your wife $200,000.
And we'll move your body off the work floor.
That's right.
Get it off we're not going to leave your body there. We're going to get it out of the workstation.
Have you seen that? I don't know that that's in the contract. I don't know.
That's not. I'm sorry.
But the key
we don't leave your body there, but these other benefits come in. Sorry, Paul. Somebody wanted to know that. I just want to make sure.
The key is normally when you have retirement plans, you can only tie them in for 6 years. With a golden handcuff, then you can tie them in for 20 years. And so, but it's such a good deal that they're dumb to leave, because if they leave in year 14 or year 5 or year 7, they just forfeit everything. And so we get involved with helping design those plans and fund those plans all across the country.
Okay, Bacham, you are blowing our minds, my friend. Keep them coming, baby.
I have got a lot of good ones here. You've actually answered 2 of my follow-up questions. Just boom, knocked them out. So
wow.
This one will be kind of a round robin.
Wow.
Do you have a new business startup setup checklist? So in your case, when you buy a practice or when you're starting one up, you got the partner, you're doing the business. Do you have a systemized checklist or something to not miss anything?
I do.
Awesome.
The thing about it is that I update it about every month. So I call it my bulletproof checklist, which I'll show you. But it's like a lot of stuff. So as an example, let me just give you an example. This is just something stupid, but it's true. Google Map didn't exist in 99. So you start a business, that's not on your checklist. Oh, get a Google Map. Or call recording. It was the technology was so. Do you remember how expensive the call recording used to be, dude? Those systems that record the phones.
Oh yeah.
I dropped over $10,000 on 3 recorded lines back in the day, and it was like a big apparatus they brought in. It was crazy. Now it's like $50 a phone line. It's month to month. It's great. So now on the checklist, like Clarity Voice is on that checklist, or installing HTTPS encryption on a site. Those are all marketing things, but then you also have, you're setting up your operating agreements, and there's just a big old list. And yes, we have that. I would say for free for our listeners, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com and you go there today and you click on the podcasts button, you can download the Start Here book for free. And in there, it lists out a lot of it. But that checklist I use that all the time. That's the move. That's the move.
This is a move.
It's taken me a long time to make that thing, and I update it all the freaking time. Next question, sir.
Awesome. So the next one I got is, what is your most expensive business lesson? Why did it happen? How do you prevent it?
Oh, I'll go first. I'll let Paul
either
go.
expensive or painful.
I'm going to let Paul. Paul can one up me. Zeke can one up me. I'm just going to tell you this is what I did. I did not know, and if I did know, I didn't listen to Z's advice right here. Unless you're a life coach, don't coach lives. And that to me, because when I was building, remember when you started,
it worked.
Could you explain to the listeners how you and I met? Seriously.
Yeah. So, I was in my second year of college, or first, I can't remember which, but a loser, antisocial, not really anything going on. But I figured in order to get these social skills, I had to find a job that will teach me these. So I went and I found a DJ ad I was like, that's the furthest possible I could imagine. So I'm sure that'll work in some way. So I did it. I became a DJ. Not very good at it, but
so you started working for our company, DJConnection.com.
DJ Connection, and then did that for about a year. About 100
Antisocial
shows.
guy. You learned all these skills.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. Learned how to talk to people, be in front of people. Kind of manage people, manage the events, and it was something that is completely invaluable.
Did you grow up rich?
No, the complete opposite.
Share how you grew up, just for the listeners out there to have some context.
Probably $20,000, a single mom, 3 kids. Kind of craziness. Kind of raised my brother and sister up, and
so here's the thing. This is what, and I'm not saying that I regret helping you. I just want to share this with you.
Sure.
If you Google today Tulsa DJs, right? All of the listings are former employees of mine who started a company to compete with me while working for me. All of them.
Wow.
So I waste, in my opinion, and this is my wife agrees with this, I think I wasted an entire decade of my life just mentoring up jackasses who screwed me as a way to say thank you. And I am super pissed off about it because I'd meet these idiots. I'd meet these people at my house for dinner. They'd say, hey, I'm going through this life issue. Could you help me? I'd help them all. And then they would, this is what would happen. We installed call recording. So I'm playing the calls one day, and the call goes like this. Thank you for calling DJ Connection. Yeah, I wanted to see if you guys had a DJ available on June 5th. The guy says, let me check. Right now I'm all booked out, but I have a company I would recommend for you. Let me give you this company. And he's recommending himself.
Well, sure.
And this would happen all the time. So I'd see this behavior. I'd pull the guy aside. I'm like, guy, are you starting your own company competing with me? And it was a poor judgment. It was a bad decision.
It was a bad decision.
It was a decision that I'm owning now. My bad. You know the guy who always plays sports and misses every shot and says, my bad?
My bad.
My bad.
It's on me.
You're playing soccer with the guy?
It's on me. It's on me.
Yeah, on me. My bad. He's always getting penalties in soccer. My bad.
My bad.
On me. And Vanessa would go, you got to cut that guy. You got to quit coaching him. So I would coach him up. I'd get the guy up to making $70,000 a year, $80,000 a year, kind of propping him up, Z.
Oh, yeah.
Coaching him up. Filling in for their massive gaping moral issues. It's like they obviously have holes in the submarine, but I'm plugging those things.
Oh, yeah.
Duct taping them up there. And then they would just implode one by one. And now my philosophy it's so much better. It's so much better. Step one.
I would not have hired myself.
No, I wouldn't. I would not. I'm serious. So you are a blessing, and so I have chosen. And it's a blessing that came, a byproduct that came from this. But now I just look for Andrew Bloomers. So let me tell you the Bloomer philosophy.
Okay.
1, if they can't work at Chick-fil-A or Starbucks or they don't have their crap together, I don't hire them. 2, I just offer great carrots, great performance-based carrots, and then I teach them the technical things. But I am not going to, for me personally, I am not going to coach up people on, here's the keys to being an enthusiastic person. Here's the keys to time management. Here's the keys to staying motivated. Here's the keys to not stealing anymore. Because I used to do that, and every time these guys would have like a 2-year window of their life where they would do well, and then they would just fall off the cliff every time. It was like what's the show where they show bands where they fall apart? The show, it's
One
like,
Hit Wonders.
It's like a VH1 where they show the band broke up.
Oh, they all break up. Except,
it's like
except just a few of them.
You know the show about like Guns N' Roses and Poison, and it's like how they became
how they
great,
implode.
how they implode. It was like that every year, for me, that was my biggest regret, was trying to life coach people who I should have just fired them. I should have just been like, hey, I got a great tip. You're fired.
You're fired. You're fired.
There you
Two
go.
words for you.
Seriously, now I do it, and I have so much more time freedom. I'm happier all the time.
They both start with B. Bye-bye.
You know what I mean, Z?
Yeah.
You've probably done that before. You probably mentored up a jackass.
Oh,
Have you?
I did that early on, but then I quickly realized.
How long did it take you to run? 7 minutes, 7 weeks? You're pretty pragmatic.
Yeah, probably more like 7 months. But,
7 months before you stop mentoring
before I'm like,
jackasses?
this is stupid.
Okay.
I mean, and the key is when you find someone that you think the skills are more important than their core values of that individual.
Frick.
But skills you can always train up. Core values, not so much. You think you can.
Right.
You believe you can.
I thought it was like youth group. I'm like, guys, kids,
okay.
here's the deal. Now that we have climbed up to the trust, that was the
trust fall.
The trust fall. Now we've done that. Now we've gone down the Illinois River together. Now we're going to burn our CDs.
Oh, yeah.
Because we got to burn our secular music.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to get shirts with an ichthus on it. And then we're going to drive back and we're going to live a new life. We're born again. Here we go. Welcome to DJ Connection.
Come on.
And then they would do it for like a week. And then I just get I got the craziest voicemails. This is a fun story. You know the Relay for Life event?
Oh, yeah.
It's where you walk around a track. They had one back in the day. And it was some event where you walk around the track in the winter in Union to raise money for something.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the DJs, this is his voicemail. Boop. Boss, I don't know how it happened, but my car is stuck right now on the track. And I need you to come get me.
What?
Right. So it's like 3 a.m. My wife and I drive over there, and there's a guy completely intoxicated parked in a Honda, one of those Honda boxy vehicles right in the middle of the track, stuck in no, seriously, stuck in like a snow pile. And my wife's like, why do we put up with this?
Why?
Have I told you about the nude Buddha hugger?
Oh, the one down in Dallas?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
For
great
the listeners
story.
who missed out on this story, I get a guy not going to knock on my door. It's like 2 a.m. Sir, very important here. We've got law enforcement here.
You're in a hotel.
I'm in a hotel. The nice Hyatt downtown with the rotating restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
Sir, we need you to come down here. We have law enforcement here. They need to speak to you. Like, well, what's going on? They said, is your room signed out to such and such and such and such? Oh, yeah, those are my guys. Well, they've got the fire department, sir, and one of them is a nude and is clinging to a Buddha. And I'm like, what in the world?
You can't make this stuff up.
No, and so he ends up, he's totally naked except for his underwear. And I guess he had a Long Island iced tea contest with other employees to see who could have like 10 and like 10 minutes.
These are good life decisions.
And so he apparently, while he's still sober, they're passing him Long Island iced teas while he's out on this ledge, like he's like in the scene from Empire Strikes Back where Luke is fighting with his father, you know?
Oh, yeah.
He's out there at this impossible area where this Buddhist there's like a Buddhist statue with a waterfall. And it's like maybe 2.5, 3 stories up in the air.
Oh, Lord.
And then he realizes he's intoxicated when he's on that ledge. And now he doesn't want to come down because he doesn't want to fall or die.
Sure. Yeah,
he's just screaming. And I would spend my time with these kinds of life situations. I mean, we had one guy who he used to always get the vehicles impounded.
Always.
I mean, like more than 4 times. It was like, hey, boss, I'm down here at the David L. Moss
correction facility.
Yeah, and I had a taillight out, and I did not pay certain fees, and they pulled me over, and I tried to get away, I was trying to just duck around this corner, and I need you to. So Vanessa's like, what are you doing? And I would just constantly try to put these idiots together. I think it's because I was teaching DJs.
Right.
I think that's where my talent pool was.
You were life coaching.
Oh, jeez.
And how'd that work out for you?
Not well, and I just can't get those years back, but I've learned from it. Hopefully someone just got 10 years of your life back by not making that same decision. See, what's the worst business move you've made? Or maybe, deal where you're like, that was a dumb ad or a dumb strategic move, or maybe you didn't do enough. Maybe you did too many calf raises, and now your calves are permanently just too sexy.
Permanently jacked.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing, if I could go back and change, is a particular lawsuit. I sold my first auto auction, and I had a no compete, and I thought, like, a guy would think, when the no compete ran out, I could compete again.
Right. Oh, you think you're saying when the non-compete's over?
Is that crazy?
You thought that the non-compete was over?
Yes. And
dumb.
And in my ignorance, after 5 years, I started to put back together my current auto auction that I have open now, which is I opened in 2013. 2010, my no compete run out. 2013. I started a new business.
3 years after the non-compete was over.
So it was 5 years. So it was 8 years later. Boom.
Got it.
I'm open and running.
Yeah.
And sure enough, soft opening party. Here comes the servers to serve me a lawsuit. I already knew that they.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
At the event?
Oh yeah.
At the event?
Oh yeah.
That is sexy. God, that is hot.
That's hot sauce. Wow. Hey guys, I've got something here for you, but can we step into a back room? I don't want to embarrass anybody. Well, sure, we could step into a back. It's not a bedroom, but it's a back office.
Oh, whoa! Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Well, that was the music, though.
No. I know this. Listen. I'm playing the music that Andrew said to play.
There you go.
I'm just reading cue cards. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm
2013,
controlled by Andrew.
I get sued, and of course, I'm sitting there thinking, this is silly. this can't hold any merit. This, I honor the terms of the contract. And there's a little thing in the judicial system where if you think you're going to the courthouse to get justice, you are very naive. And when they pick out 12 of your peers to sit on the stand, you're being very naive. And when they spend the kind of money after 5 years of battling and finally getting it to court that they've spent, it's really not about right or wrong.
True.
I'll be honest with you.
Well,
it's about who has the slicker attorney, who has spent the money. When I walk in the room, they've had like 12 suits in there, and I'm like, oh, that's not going to go well.
Bobby Frost, Robert Frost, R. Frost, he writes, a jury consists of 12 persons chosen to decide who has the better lawyer.
Exactly right.
Think about this real quick, man. If you go to court and you're a business owner and it's business owner versus employee, let me tell you how that goes. Quick poll here, guys. Before we get started, we're getting the jury pool. We want to make sure it's objective. How many of you own a business? Nobody puts the hands up.
Nobody.
How many of you are excited about this? I mean, seriously. So the people who want to serve and want to spend their entire week on jury duty are employees almost every time.
Right.
And the statistics show, according to Forbes, 9 out of 10 startups fail. So even if you have a jury of all business owners or who once were business owners, you have usually 11 people who are employees and have never been self-employed successfully. And so they're thinking, because this is the lie. They think if you're successful, you must be screwing somebody. So there's an inherent bias right there that's brutal. And then if you are going in heavy with the facts, like you, Dr. Z, you might think, I don't need to spend a bunch of stacks of cash on attorneys. I don't need to have like the best attorney in the whole world. I don't need to have like a team of 12. I don't need to hire the Wu-Tang clan of attorneys. I don't need 12 MCs here. I've got a slam dunk case here. Other guy lawyers up, right? Spends a bunch of money. And it's whoever has the biggest legal budget, right?
I tell you what, it was the most miserable week of my life.
You look good, though.
I mean, I sat there listening to what they were saying, and it was all just silliness to some degree. But yet, when you're sitting there, I mean, after a while, I'm kind of going, man, I'm one bad dude. Wow. I have, look at the lives I've ruined by competing. Oh, my goodness. Because business is war. And I think that's one of the things that people think that it's all about a big kumbaya thing. It's kind of like, well, the pie's big enough. You shouldn't take too much. You're an aggressive marketer. You're an aggressive business owner.
Can I put?
That's why my businesses stay open.
Can I put audio of you? Because this was day. How many days were you in that court? In the court?
I've tried to forget about it.
I think this was day 3.
Every time I think about it, I taser myself.
Hump day. This was Z on hump day. And what happened is Z walks up to the stand where did he explain kind of there's a judge, right?
Oh, there's a judge.
And there's a jury of your peers.
And they have 14, and 2 don't know that they're not the final 12, as a matter of fact.
And Z says, can I request a brief recess? And the judge says, well, why? And you said, well, sir, I want to get myself prepared for what's going to happen next. Well, sure, I'll give you a few minutes. Z comes back, and this is audio of you after day 3 of really just taking it for the team here. Here we go.
Here we go.
Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another? Thank you, sir. May I have another?
So then at some point, it almost becomes that. And I don't say sympathy card. I don't. That's not the right word. But it's almost that. They lean on people's. What they think is fair, which is a horrible term.
It's good, like multi-level sales pitch. It's like, do you care more about fair business or about one man destroying America?
I mean, and so it's kind of one of those deals when it's all said and done, you're just kind of going. I mean, they didn't get what they wanted, and I gave them more than I did, and it's kind of negotiations 101. But you're having 12 strangers that, quite frankly, I mean, if I caught one more of them sleeping throughout the trial, I was going to come unglued. Yeah. And
did they really sleep? Were they sleeping?
Oh my gosh! Oh, are you kidding me? Oh yeah, sleeping.
Wow.
I remember when we were in the DJ business. Flashbacks. There were certain guys who were pumped about jury duty.
Wow.
They were like, oh my gosh, we got like $50 a day or something, or $25 a day.
Oh, it's crazy.
No catering your meals. Like, oh, I get Schlotzsky's every day.
It's so good. I get to pick what sandwich I get. Anyway, as far as that goes, now how do I look back and keep that from happening? That would be the question. So when I say that was the most horrible experience I've had in business, is sitting there that week and just having people come up and throw all these accusations, say all these things about me, which weren't true. But you can't stand up in court and go, that's a lie. But you can't do it. You got to sit there and take it like a champ.
Yeah.
And sit there and try to smile. And you had this whole game. It's all a big game. Trials are nothing about justice at all. And so if you think you're going to sue someone and go to trial and get your justice, you are being naive. Now, I look back and I go, where did the train leave the tracks? And I go back and go, you know what? It's when I probably sold my first business. So year one, don't sell it, especially to a litigious company like I sold it to. I mean, whenever we got into contract, the CEO walks in my office and shakes my hand and says horrible things right then. I go, I don't like you. Number one, I mean, you just cussed me out and you said horrible things right there. And I just shook your hand. That's a red flag. And now I look back at all the things that transpired over the course of those events. And now it's all behind me. And and I have forgiven and I have moved on. Yes, Darth Vader. So if you're going to get into business with Darth Vader, understand you're going to get a lightsaber in a place you don't want a lightsaber.
Speaking of lightsabers, Paul, how you doing?
I am great. Two things. One, the legal proceedings are really more like politics than anything. It's not who's right. It's who looks the best and who says the words. And you can get away with saying just about anything because you can't prove it. Now, to answer your question for me, is I got rocking and rolling at a young age, was really being successful. And I thought, well, I can be successful in anything. And so I bought a bowling alley.
Oh, nice.
And then I opened a sports bar. And dude, if you want to lose money fast, get in the restaurant business when you're by yourself. So it kind of gets back to, I stay in my lane, and if I ever do a restaurant again, first Clay slapped me in the face, but if I ever do, it's only going to be, I got to make sure I have that person who has restaurant experience, who is an expert in that. So my worst mistake is just getting outside my lane. Any active business, I'm sticking to what I know. Now, I can consult with people, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be there day to day running a restaurant. So I just stay focused. I invest in real estate, the passive type things. But before you expand into another business, you've got to know, because it's going to pull you away from your primary business as well. You've got to have somebody who has expertise in that. Z, you agree with that?
I've got a great idea for a restaurant, though. So whenever you're ready, I'll be your huckleberry.
Now, is this?
You want to hear about it?
Hang on. Is this the one that has firemen running around with no shirts on? You were telling me.
No,
about?
that's a different thing.
That's a different thing. Okay.
That's a different thing. That's a car wash business.
That's the car wash place he goes to all the time.
That's one he goes.
That's not a business idea.
Well,
that's a place he buys from.
Well, those guys are very good at cleaning cars.
Absolutely. This just in, these guys over there at the shirtless firefighter themed place are very good at washing cars. Okay, back to you, Anthony Bockham, at our beautiful Thrive Time Show help desk. Sir, what questions do you have?
Well, kind of following from what you guys said, it's kind of funny because I've had every single one of those lessons myself. I've learned how to hire character over skill. I feel like, it's amazing how much that changes. I've had to settle 2 lawsuits. I'm a used car dealer, and I didn't even consider a trial because there's no way I'm winning that. There's no way, even though I was right. And I did start a business related to my car dealership. It was a car wash. Lost money super quick.
You didn't have shirtless firemen manning it?
That was your mistake.
That was a mistake.
That was your biggest mistake there.
It's probably your biggest one. Yeah.
And the odd thing, it relates to a lawsuit, so that's probably why. If I didn't have a line,
it all ties together.
Yeah, it all ties together. So this one's actually for you, Clay, and it's kind of unique to, I guess, the certain personalities, kind of like mine, like yours. Do you have any techniques to channel frenetic energy or rage into productive energy?
Yes, let me get myself mentally prepared.
Like eating a spoonful of Drano. Sure, it'll clean you out, but it'll leave you hollow inside.
Okay. This is what I have found, is that if you let your rage consume you, it definitely will leave you hollow. So you've got to find a way that it's sustainable to channel that negativity. You have to find a way and commit to it. So I'm going to give you 4 or 5 examples, and maybe Z, you could one-up me of that I've seen my clients do that have worked for them, and then you pick the one that's right for you. I got one guy who we had a very deep conversation. I'm pretty positive he'd had a beer before calling me, so it was a really good one. But he says, I just work out every morning until I am not pissed. So I'm like, how long does that take you? He goes, it could be a half hour, most days an hour, hour and a half. But I cannot tell you how mad I am sometimes. And I go, why? He goes, and he'll tell me the situations. I'm like, oh, I could see why you're jacked.
Sure.
I mean, seriously, that is a thing. It's a bit ability to take that negative, turn it into a positive, and fitness might be the thing for you. That might be the thing. Another one, which is crazy. I give it to you, you throw it back, it's fine. Napoleon Hill wrote about sexual transmutation. Now that right there, hey, it's in the book.
It is in the book.
And I read the book, and someone's going to go, you're sick. Get out of here. Just listen. Just take some notes. Google search it. I'm not making this up. Napoleon Hill, this is what he says. He says, sex transmutation is simple and is easily explained. It means the switching of the mind from thoughts of physical expression to thoughts of some other nature. A lot of guys who I have found, guys, I don't know about women, guys who have like a very high sex drive are guys that can turn that energy, that chivalry to wow a woman and turn it into business goals. So for me, a lot of times I'm very frustrated about certain things, and I'm like, I'm going to go out there and kick some butt for my wife. I'm going to go slay a dragon and bring it back for her. I don't know why I'm going to slay a dragon, and I'm not sure why she wants the pelt. I'm not sure why she wants that, but I'm going to go slay a dragon. So as an example, I got her a wedding ring. Tell me about this deal here.
Okay.
I thought I would save money and be a good financial steward, so I didn't buy my wife a wedding ring. My grandmother said when she passed away, I could have her ring. She passed away. I took the ring, gave it to my wife. It wasn't perceived the way I thought it would. See, I got down on my knee.
How long after you married her did that happen? Was that?
Well, there was an immediate facial expression that indicated, I will not marry you. I had to ask Vanessa 3 times to get a yes.
That's all?
Yeah. So but I thought, whatever, she'll grow out of it. I'm saving money. I'm a good steward, whatever. So eventually, I mean, it wasn't passive aggressive. It was more of just like she would mention things directly. Like, hey, at some point, I think it'd be nice if you'd buy me a ring or maybe, that kind of thing.
That kind of thing. I don't think that's so much passive aggressive.
It was
She's
aggressive
telling you what to do.
Yeah, no, it was direct. It was, I was mad about it. Still mad about it. I don't even I hate rings. Unless we're gonna cut metal, I don't want diamonds. I don't see the point in it. So I went out there and I'm like, I'm going to get you a ring that costs more than our first freaking condo. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go sell some, and I did. And so I find a way to turn things that irritate. I mean, to this day, you say, are you happy about it? No. Am I glad Vanessa has one? Sure, but I don't like it.
She's happy, though.
She's happy, which makes me happy. But I'm saying life. I was able to turn a negative. Paul, you had a hot take there.
Well, all I was going to say to comment about the ring thing is I kind of have a different opinion about that. You want that ring on your wife's finger so big that her knuckles drag the ground that another guy sees that ring and says, I can't even come close to saying
there's no way I can take over payments.
I can't take that one.
Yeah.
Somehow this became a ring war with Steve Currington, and then Jay David was the winner of it.
Oh, yeah.
Because Currington's like, your wife can't have a ring.
The attorneys are the only ones that win.
That's so funny. Yeah. And Jay's like, I like this rivalry going on. So anyway, that was a thing. But so again, you can turn it into a productive action, okay? The third, this is something I see Z do, and I don't know. I'm just giving you what I've seen, and you can, this is my perception of it, is just don't give an F or give a feeling. Don't even think about it. Just keep moving. Just stay in action. It's like when something bad's happened, don't sit there and go to counseling for the 47th time. Okay, we know your partner screwed you. We know this is how you feel. Now we have to take action. Go, go, go. I see action. The fourth I see all the time, this is big, is meditation or morning prayer. I see people that do that. The meditation, the morning prayer, they do that. And the fifth one is lawn darts. No, I'm just kidding. It's maybe teaming up with somebody who can handle it, who you can not dump your ideas on, but it's like somebody who's been through it, like a mentor, a partner, where you can go, hey, partner, so if you were partners with Z, and you could say, hey, man, I'm getting screwed by a guy I sold my business to, now he's coming after me. Z's like, oh, I've been through that. And somehow just when someone can say that, you feel like, oh, okay.
Well, you have that testimony that you can actually speak into someone's life. It's like a lady who's had a miscarriage could speak into another young lady's life. And if you haven't, like me, I would never really know what to say to someone like that. So in the business world, I've gone through just about every disaster you can go through, owning all the businesses I have and all the situations that can arise. It's very seldom when I go, well, that's first time that's happened, right? So what you kind of go through those things, your high water mark, you kind of understand that, hey, it's going to be okay. And I think probably the biggest thing for me is the quicker I can get into forgiveness mode, the better off I am mentally and spiritually and physically. It's having that angst or that anger, that unforgiveness in you when you've been done wrong, and you have every right, if you will, to be mad, plant that mad flag, and then dance around it. Until you're just worn out. You go, I'm going to take a little break, come back and dance some more.
Dance around it naked by the fire pit.
Oh, yeah.
Wearing a goat head.
Hugging a Buddha. Drinking Long Island tea. I have found, though.
That's just what we do.
That's just
something that we do.
Sidebar. That's a sidebar. But the thing about it is that the quicker you get into that, into forgiveness, that doesn't mean you don't deal with the problems that are at hand. That doesn't mean you stick your head in the sand and go, well, I'm just going to forgive him, and you know what? It's just I'm not going to worry about it. No, you get a plan going forward to take care of your business, take care of whatever it is that got wronged, right? But you don't sit there and walk around with all that angst and anger and that bitterness in you, because that just eats away at you. That makes you less of a person. That makes you somebody people don't want to be around. And so don't let someone's ignorance, or don't let someone's what they've done to you rob you of your joy, rob you of your peace, rob you of those things. And at first it's difficult. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's difficult. But I have learned and done it so many times over the years. It comes easier and quicker. And that's true. It's the long-term best thing you can do.
Or you could join like a secret society, Z, and get weird brands and team up with conspiracy theorists and let it bother you and steal all your joy and get nothing done.
And that's plan B. You just call
plan B. That's what you
plan B is you call it the Illuminati.
That's the fallback plan.
This is Z and I. The last time we got really upset about something, we couldn't let it go. This is our Illuminati gathering here.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I grabbed a goat head.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I had the blood I was spraying around the room.
And I'm going, this is getting weird, but let's continue down this rage.
Just keep doing it.
Let's continue on this rage path. This will help us.
But and also, too, it's easy to say what I'm getting ready to say, and it's kind of maybe difficult to understand it. And that is, if you've ever done any public speaking, right? Have you ever done any public speaking, Anthony?
A little bit.
A little bit here and there? Okay.
Oh, no.
What happens to you just physically before you get up there to speak?
You get nervous, a little sweaty. You kind of try to take a breath, but you're really kind of get frantic.
Yeah, you get hives on your neck.
Sweat on my inner thigh.
Yeah. Lower back, all kind of soppy wet and all that kind of stuff, right? So what does a good public speaker do? Now, Clay's a great public speaker, and he can answer that. But what they do is they take that energy.
There you go.
Because that's what it is. It's energy.
Yep.
And this is all talking about how to channel the energy in the right direction. You're mad, that's energy. Go through forgiveness and then take that same energy and channel it into productivity, right? Same thing when you're public speaking. You can use that bump of endorphins. You can use that bump of, that feeling coming through you, right? And that's actually chemicals being released by your body inside. And you can go out there and you can kill up public speaking. Clay, did you have any little moves you did before you public spoke?
Yeah, well, again, I paid Carlton Pearson to teach me, and I read all the Dale Carnegie books on speaking and actually attended a course, so I got a kind of a leg up on this. One is this is, again, I don't know if you want to do this, but this is what you would do. Pastor Craig Rochelle, the pastor of the largest church in America, spends 12 to 20 hours per week preparing his speech. And Brother Carlton told me you need to say the speech out loud at least 5 times before you give it. And I thought, okay. Other thing that Dale Carnegie talked about is have 3 to 4 or 5 times, have much more content than what you're actually going to say. Like much more content.
That's the worst. Is getting a public speaking and then running out of stuff to say. It's like you still got 15 minutes left.
So you get much more content, and then you say it out loud, and that preparation begins to take away the nerves. And then all of a sudden, you feel so over-prepared, you have a certain confidence going into it. And then all the rules about don't make eye contact, that goes away. About not shaking and not freaking out, because you're so prepared. It's when you realize you have not prepared, therefore you don't deserve the stage, that's when you really get nervous, is when you're kind of nervous anyway because you haven't done a lot, but then you haven't prepared to kind of be the 1-2 combo. That's when you get nervous. And I was getting up there doing the old 1-2 combo where I was nervous, and I wasn't preparing properly, and people could see through it. So that preparation, I think, is a really critical moment to get over those nerves. Paul, you had a comment on how you deal with the stress of running a business.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, you cannot, I challenge anybody to find me a successful person. who hasn't been attacked verbally, who hasn't dealt with negative things. You can't, business being success. Now, most people will look at a successful person and say, oh, it's an overnight success and you're lucky. The reality is the issue that if someone is coming at me, if I'm feeling the angst, that's my issue. It's not their issue, because one, they're probably not a person I really even care their opinion. They're not putting food on my table. They're not somebody who I have a close relationship with. And so I try to just stop and remember, everything positive and negative is a learning experience. And so they may say 15 things. Is there some sense of truth in that? How can I separate emotion with fact and know that see that person as typically that's an insecure person that is just lashing out, and then you kind of laugh inside and think of them as some 5-year-old kid that is threatened to beat you up and they can't do anything. It's just all words.
Another little mechanism I have, and this was taught to me, I want to say Lee Cockrell said this to me years ago, and I've heard this over and over. But when somebody's really insulting you, and you have someone who's just irate,
yes,
someone you had to fire, or it's typically it's a competitor who says something crazy, or someone you had to fire. There's some sort of friction. Don't say how you feel for 24 hours and never send it via email or type it. Mm-hmm. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, don't say how you feel. Don't do that. Give yourself 24 hours to cool off, and then do not email that thing. I mean,
and
just
that's separating emotion. That's getting rid of the emotion. It's actually looking at fact.
You should have called Antonio Brown and told him that, because he could use that life lesson.
He's got the 0.5 second rule. He's like, if after 0.5 seconds you haven't let go of the stress, send it to everyone.
Yeah. And then not only send it to that person, but then tweet it out for the world to see.
Unbelievable. So again, that's a rule. The other one is, again, the emotions. Whenever you get really excited, like you're wanting to invest in something, buy something, there's that big up, like, woo, we should do this. Again, 24 hours, wait on it, think about it, pray on it. A lot of times even 72 hours, but just don't make emotional decisions.
No, it's called deal heat. You get in the middle of a deal and you just want to make it happen.
Deal heat.
Yeah, deal heat.
That's how
you
I created
walk
5
away.
kids. I'm in deal heat. Okay, Anthony, what was your next question there, sir?
I've got a funny story about the deal hate thing. When I got my dealer license, my first car I bought was that Z66, right?
Oh,
so
nice.
There we go.
It's going through the lane. They're pushing you to bid more, and it goes through. And as it leaves, I've won it, but on the back of the window it says no reverse. So I bought a car with no reverse because I didn't calm down slow, and sure enough, lost $2,000. My first car, first experience.
Nice.
Yep.
I mean, who really needs reverse? I mean, that's the way you should live your life.
You always look forward. No
looking back.
Burn the boats, baby. Burn the boats. You don't need to go
backwards. The
backwards.
guy I sold it to, his driveway was like an incline, right? So he's like, I don't need reverse. I just got a good
Pretty
deal.
neutral and roll it on back.
Roll her backwards.
Back out of there.
There you go. It worked.
Okay, what is your next question,
All right.
Anthony? That was good.
Now this one, rule in this question is no cliches allowed. So,
oh wow,
what is the Kobe Bryant / Michael Jordan / Tom Brady trait of the 0.01% of the greatest and most successful that never gets talked about or written about? I don't mean never give up. I mean like something that is either kind of ingrained.
Well, okay,
0.01%, like something that's very rare.
Paul, you want to go first?
Oh, it's easy. And it's in about every success book you can think of. It's about being intentional. Every decision you make is going towards the direction you want to do. People in life that aren't successful is because they drift and they're watching TV and they're on their phones. They're not being intentional. So the difference between a successful person, I don't care what field you're in, and a non-successful person is that successful person is intentional in what they do. They're always looking forward. They're everything. For instance, I did a bodybuilding competition with my son, and in 16 weeks I lost 29 pounds and got down to 2% body fat. And it's because everything I ate was pre-planned. How much, when I was going to eat, every exercise I did, it was intentional. So that proved to me that anyone can be successful if you have a path and you're intentional and you monitor what you're doing. You agree?
I agree with you, Paul, and I think that behind that intentionality, Michael Levine's talked about this at our shows, at our in-person workshops and on the show. Michael Levine, the PR consultant for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson's estate, he talks about super successful people do things as though their life depended upon it.
Yep.
So, as an example, one of my clients, he's a Canadian accountant. He's up there in Canada, Mr. Spurl sent me the preview pages to his new book. And he said, Clay, I'd like you to read it over the weekend if you could, or just proof it when you can. Proof it. He said, can you proof it? I said, I will proof it. I said, I'll get it to you by Monday. Well, why did I say Monday? Because I want to get it done. And you know what I was doing Sunday night after everyone goes to bed? I'm proofing the book. And why am I proofing the book? Because I set a deadline and I'm going to get it done. Unsuccessful people say, I'll try. I freaking hate that statement. I know right away if you're successful or not if you say, I'll try to get it done. See, you see this all the time. I'll try.
Oh, yeah.
There's a big difference. So if you have this deep, burning, white, hot, maniacal thing called I am going to obsess about getting something done, I refuse to lose, you can't compete with people like that. There's a certain engagement they have. They're just, their lights are on. It's like you see it in sports, you see it, it's a certain intensity. It's like they are all in and you're kind of toes in the water. You're kind of trying it out a little bit. It's just, see, I mean, wouldn't you agree? It's that burn the boats mentality, man.
It really is. And to pile on what these guys are saying, you want to be purposeful, intentional, and you've got to have the desire and the drive to do all that, and that coupled together. I think that's why so few businesses are really successful at the level that you would look back and go, wow, they're killing it. They're doing really well, right? I mean, according to Forbes, which is kind of our business Bible, I mean, as many as 90% of businesses fail.
Not good.
Not good. Between 8 and 9 out of 10 are like, fail. And so you go, why on earth would someone go through all that effort to start one? Because we know it's a lot of work. We're all business owners in here. We've all started businesses. It's not easy, and there's road bumps and trauma along the way. And so you go, well, why are so few of them running still, and why are so few of them are doing exceptionally well? And I think it couples with what Paul and Clay just said, but it also goes with, I think, not having and this maybe is kind of too cliche, but not having a plan B. In other words, not having a backup plan. So many people that I talk to, they're like, well, if this doesn't work, I think I'll just go back to work, or I'll do this, or I'm going to do this.
I'll move in with my uncle if it doesn't work.
I'm hopeful that it works. Those kind of, when they talk about that, if you have a plan B, your level of success goes way down. I forget the actual numbers. Clay could probably sport it off like that. But the idea is that there's no chance. There's not even a room in your brain to even entertain the idea of this business not being successful.
Let's think about this for a second, okay? 57% of people right now, according to Forbes, 57% of people, according to, this is Gallup here. Gallup says 57% of Americans, according to Gallup, want to start a business. All right. 33% of employees, according to Gallup, are engaged at work, meaning they're trying. Engaged. 70% are not trying. So when I went to college, ORU, I wanted to pay my way through college, and it was $20,000 a year to go there, and I sold tickets to my dance parties for $5 a ticket, and I had to pay for my college. So I'm a math wizard, and that would be 4,000 tickets. And so I decided I'm going to get people there. So I put out flyers, and I get a call from the dean's office, and they said, Mr. Clark, can you come on down here? I said, sure, I'm a freshman. How you doing? They said, hey, you can't pass out flyers. It's against the rule. And I said, okay. And again, this is pre-Christ, okay? This is pre-Christ. The point is here, this is how you get it done. So I'm like, well, I can't, put up flyers on the bulletin board. We know what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the popular volleyball girls and the popular soccer players. These are Division I athletes. And I'm going to have them pass them out on their floors underneath, because I can't go in the girls' dorms. The volleyball lady do that. I'll have the guys do this, and then I'll pass them out. And I'm going to carry flyers with me on everywhere I go. I'm going to have a backpack, and I'm going to carry flyers. And every time I run into anyone ever, I'm going to pass out a flyer every single time.
Right.
And then I'm going to put soap in the fountains on the Wednesday before the dance party, because the dance party is on Friday nights. I'm going to put the soap in the fountains on a Wednesday, and they're going to make a big stink about it. They're going to say, they have this all voicemail system, and it would say, boop, you have a message from the dean's office. Attention students, somebody has put soap inside the fountains, and we need to, if you know any information about this, please report it to the dean's office so that we can deal with this, that kind of thing. So then I put it in there Wednesday, and I'm going, ooh, they're getting pretty
bubbly fun.
Yeah, so around the lunchroom, I'm going, hey guys, at the dance party, we're going to let you know who's putting all the bubbles in the fountains. We're going to let you guys know. I don't know who it is, but we're going to announce who it is. So you kind of tap into that. So Friday, you put more bubbles in there. Pretty soon, everyone on campus is like, there's a dance party on Friday. There's flyers everywhere. There's bubbles. Maybe those two are connected.
Maybe.
Then, Anthony, I hand-painted my vehicle, my 1989 Ford Escort, to get attention. So I drove around. Everyone would see this thing. They knew, like, that's the guy with the DJ business. That's the guy with the fountains. That's the guy with the flyers.
That's the bubble dude.
And you keep doing this over and over and over and over, and pretty soon everyone shows up.
Pretty soon you get kicked out of college.
Pretty soon. Now, this is the thing. I could have said, I'm not gonna market it because I don't have the budget. I'm not gonna market because it's not with the rules. I'm not gonna hand paint my vehicle because I can't afford an auto wrap. So I guess I can't market with my vehicle.
You were an auto wrap before auto wrap was auto wrap.
I couldn't afford a dolly, so I literally was carrying these almost 5.5 feet tall JBL speakers up the fire escape because I wasn't allowed to bring them into my dorm room. I'd go on and on all the things I did, but losing is not an option. Failure is just not an option. You have to have that mindset.
You have to have that mindset. And when I tell people, hey, they want to start a business, and I kind of walk them through just to see where their mind is.
Yeah.
So many times I'm just like, oh, in the back of my mind I'm thinking, just go punch a time clock.
Punch it.
You don't have the fortitude. It's not easy. It's war. War is war. And when people hear that, they just sometimes kind of they kind of repel from that. Like, wait a second,
I wanted to open
I don't want to be mean. I don't want to, And I'm telling you the truth. When you get down in the trenches,
it's a contact sport.
It is, and you've got to be ready because. I promise you this, when I opened up my optometry business, I didn't have any other optometrists coming up to me and saying, you know what, we're so glad you're in town. Here, take some cash, take some money.
We want to help you, brother.
Can we help pay your car payment or maybe a house payment? Let's go to dinner.
It's just as tough in ministry.
It's tough in any business you're in and anything you want to open up. And so you've got to have that mindset of no matter what. I don't have another option. This has to be successful.
Well, and Clay, I think both of you two will agree that there is a pattern. And you teach that pattern at your workshops. I teach that pattern. We have financial coaches at our office, and we meet with clients every month at Hood CPAs. We have clients all across the country. But there's a pattern. And when somebody sits in front of me and they got all these, hey, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to be successful, I want to save, I want to, live right. And I say, go read this book, and then let's get back together in 30 days. And then they cancel their appointment or they don't read the book. Is that my fault?
Probably.
It's that person's fault because life is about choices and choices lead to consequences. So if you want to lose weight and you're eating fast food and drinking pop all the time, you're not going to lose weight. You really don't want to lose weight. And if you come to if you aren't willing to come to Jinx, Oklahoma for a 2-day seminar that's going to revolutionize and change your life for the better, if you're sincere, then don't come. But it's your fault. So there is a pattern there, and I'm sorry, that's tough. It's brutal. Yeah, I'm feeling.
Give everybody a participation.
I give everybody a hug afterwards. But the point is stop making excuses. There is a pattern. If you want to contact my office, Hood CPAs, go to ThriveTimeShow.com. And go to one of the web seminars and get on podcasts. And so stop saying you want to be successful. And be successful.
If someone has some excuses though for not wanting for not being able to get the work done, for not being able to read the books, could they come to your 25,000 square foot mansion with their 25,000 excuses and read them to you slowly?
Come on.
Would that be fun?
They'll probably be sitting outside.
only it's when his favorite football team's playing on TV could they come in and do that.
You better bring pizzas. All I'm saying, if we're going to talk about that,
Bakken, we have time for one more. Question, but before we get to your question, you've been implementing all the things we've been teaching. You've been listening to this show. You worked with me at DJ Connection. You implemented the systems. Tell the listeners, I don't want you to, you don't want to brag on yourself, but we want you to brag on yourself. Tell us about the successes, man. Tell us about the wins.
What's been going on?
Yeah, it's been almost exactly a year since I went to the conference last year. And, to Paul's credit, when you mentioned if you can't make it to the conference, you're not serious. I have lost multiple friends this year because I was like, business owners to say, go to the conference, you're going to learn. You keep asking me questions, go to the conference, it'll tell you more than what I can answer.
Right.
Oh, I just can't, this and that and that. I'm like, after 5 times, I don't even talk to them anymore.
Right.
So
people have to do laundry. It's laundry gets in the way.
Yeah, exactly. And my employees, this and that. I was like, well, just shut down your business for a day because you're going to learn like $100,000 worth of knowledge. I mean, this is more valuable than college. The stuff you learn at this conference, within the year I've implemented, not only am I selling my business next month, but
how much are you going to be able to sell the business for approximately?
$400,000.
Nice.
Ooh.
So
Now, Z has this rule. He has this new thing he's been working on called, if you attend a conference and you implement the things and you generate a profit of $400,000, Z, aren't the first $380,000 don't they go direct deposit into the Dr.
That's in the
Zoellner
fine
Foundation?
print. I've seen it.
Isn't that the fine print in the tickets? When you come to the conference, if you make $400,000, the first $380,000, kind of like a dad tax on food.
Well, exactly.
It's like a communist thing.
It's and I think it's fair.
I think it's fair. It's fair.
Fair.
We're kind of embracing that North Korean attitude there. Okay, so back to you.
So yeah, I did. I implemented stuff, and I think the most important thing I learned was the hiring aspect.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned how to hire character over skill. How to do the group interview, how to get the best people. Because I've fired multiple people in the past year, and every person is better. And it feels almost like an entrepreneurial superpower, because you can get the best people and you can train them, and now you've got this time freedom that's amazing, all from knowing how to get the best people into your business. And that's been a game changer, because I had a lot of people that just sucked. And now that I knew how to find those people that were just going to come in and be rock stars and then teach the skills, that's been the biggest change. And then secondly, really learning how to streamline, create the efficiencies, and even to a greater degree than what I was doing before. And I think that's taken me from being, highly active in the involvement of the day-to-day activities to now I'll spend about 30 minutes a day managing the day-to-day flow of the business and spending the rest of the time on the business or other stuff.
So what's your final question you might have for either Dr. Z or Paul or myself or maybe all three of us as we wrap up today's show?
That is a good question.
Oh, it's a question about Z.
That's a good question about what question he has.
The last one was an awesome one, and I'm not sure if I can top that. But I've got one actually here for Paul.
Oh.
And, it's not, tax advice or legal advice, any of that stuff. But I would ask what kind of tax structures and entity structures might someone use to save on taxes?
This is not tax advice.
And not just like S corp or LLC, nope, but maybe more along the lines of like entity structuring, income shifting, C corp, and getting stuff off your personal return and putting it in, this or that. There's like more complex stuff that richer people will do than just an S corp.
Right. Well, what we do is we walk people through a pattern and of success. And at first, you want to keep it simple. Then we typically will say the LLC, if it's an active business, elect S status because you can control Social Security taxes. We look at qualified plans. And really where it gets fun in the planning is when if you really are diligent and you have discretionary income, meaning you keep your lifestyle below the income that you're making, then we can really start doing entity planning, C corps, or we can do stock option plans, we can do retirement plans, we can do and so we walk you through that, and then finally at the end we can help you sell your business without paying taxes. We just helped a client sell a $15 million business, and instead of him writing a $4 million check, Uncle Sam's writing him back a $750,000 check. And so it's just there's a process. Oof. But you got to get to the point to where your business is creating more revenue, more net income than you need to spend, or you keep your lifestyle below that. Then we can really do some planning.
Now, Anthony, that was a very fancy answer, and I will applaud you, Paul. That was very
fancy,
very fancy,
very suave.
But I know the truth.
Oh, wow.
And is it okay if I call Paul out on the truth?
I would
bring it, baby. Bring it.
Paul out on the truth.
Bring it.
Yeah.
I mean, he drives around these fancy cars. He just bought a new fancy house.
Right.
And he dresses fancy. He looks fancy.
He's in a rap group.
He probably is. A fancy one. Probably called the Fancy Pants or something like that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
and this is really how he got there. All that bait and switch story.
Started at the top, now he's rich.
Yeah.
Started at the top, now he's really rich.
It went more like this. When people would come up to him and seek advice or want to get further in life, right, he would tell them, he'd line them up, and he'd say this. Okay, everybody. Okay, everybody.
No, you got to do it. You got to push.
I can't keep it. I got to push through the pain.
You got to face towards Andrew.
Okay, there we go.
There it is.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, everybody. Thanks for coming here today. I want everybody to form two lines. Those that want to get rich over here in this line.
There we go. Here we go.
Those that don't give a crap, get over in this
Get over
line
here, folks.
Okay. Now, those over here in the line to get rich, I want you all to call two friends and have them show up here immediately with $1,000 each cash, okay? And we're gonna just make ourselves. If for those of you that are real go-getters, come forward. You'll be the top of the pyramid. And for those of you that aren't, you'll be the back of the pyramid. Okay?
Okay, I'm writing that down. Hey, real quick, no, seriously, this is audio of. This is a lot of times at these seminars where Paul uses a megaphone to teach people how to get rich real fast. Z will pile on, and Z, this is audio of you piling on at the end of it, where you were given kind of a bonus tip in the back of the room.
Okay, yeah.
And you see if you can decode what this means, because a lot of our listeners are going to go, I don't know what this means, but I think you know what this means.
Sure.
I'm going to cue it up. Here we go.
Here we
Let me get it.
Babies, before we're done here, y'all be wearing gold-plated diapers.
What is that? Why we play it again? I know you had one glass of red wine after a 15-hour session. No food.
I mean, that's.
And this is what you had said. I just want to make sure if you can decode what this means for our listeners.
Sure.
Decode it, please.
Okay.
Babies, before we're done here, y'all be wearing gold-plated diapers.
Well, here's the thing about it. You've got to know the audience you're speaking to. And if you think about it, what would a baby want? And so,
gold-plated diapers.
If you're going to call them out prophetically and say, "Listen, hey babies," right?
Babies.
He could say, "Hey babies, I'm going to get you a brand new Lamborghini." A baby can't drive a Lamborghini. No. What good is that going to do, right?
Babies, when we finish, you're not going to get gold-plated Lamborghinis. No.
Yeah.
You're going to get gold-plated
what
diapers.
would that be? Right. It'd be a gold-plated diaper. Because who wears diapers? Huh? A baby.
Oh, it all coming circular. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, there you
wow.
go.
Feel the flow.
Wow.
Ride the bull. Well, Anthony, thank you for so much for joining us at the Man Cave at Camp Clark and the Lampoon Lagoon. Paul, thank you for your time there. Paul Hood with Hood CPAs. If you're in need of an accountant, and I know you are, check out hoodcpas.com. Now, Z, if you have a great accountant like Hood CPAs, but you can't read the financial statements because your vision's bad, you going over to your optometry clinic right there, right?
Dr. Robert Zoellner.
And if you're feeling kind of sick because you're driving around getting motion sickness, Z, because you bought a car from your auto auction, you drove to Paul's to look at your accounting. You go to you drive over to Paul's to get the accounting. You can't really see too well. You have motion sickness because you're driving around one of your cars. You have A to Z Medical, Z, where people can get feeling better, right?
Well, yeah, it's actually that's a DME company, but the sleep center. If you're not sleeping well,
if you can't sleep well, you go on over there and then get yourself a haircut.
I mean, you've got a haircut.
You got an elephant in the room, get yourself a haircut. I mean,
it's not.
We're here to help you.
It's a men's grooming experience. It's kind of high end.
If you're out there today, though, seriously, we want to help you. Don't be a stranger. Go to thrivetimeshow.com and book your tickets to the in-person Thrive Time Show workshop. If you care about your wallet and you care about growing your business and taking it to the next level, go to thrivetimeshow.com. Book your tickets today. And if not, well, then we can't help you.
Get in line too, right?
Get in line. Get in line too. Yeah, you're the other line.
We like to end every show with a boom, and I've discovered that it kind of pops a little bit if we boom too close. We have to kind of back up.
I know.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1. If you are out there and you own a business and you want to increase the profitability of your company dramatically, you must record your calls, or your business will fall off a cliff called mediocrity. You've got to record your calls, or your business will fall off a cliff called mediocrity. Now, what's the company I recommend? I recommend Clarity Voice. How do you get a good deal? Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity. thrivetimeshow.com/clarity. Tim, you work in the call center. What's your final justification and reason why you think all the business owners out there should record their calls?
Yeah, if you want to make sure you actually have a good call and don't sound like you're having a panic attack while you're talking to a customer, it'd probably be a good idea to record your calls.
Daisy, what's your final encouragement as a call center manager? How impossible would your job be without recording calls? What's your final tip for the listeners out there as to why they should record their calls?
Well, I just look at Tim. He's like my personal testimony. We literally called him the nervous bomb diffuser for the first 6 months he worked with me. And it's like he went from nervous bomb diffuser to Brad Pitt overnight.
And I used to be the fast-talking, confused guy at my first job. And then they played my calls, and they're like, wow, you talk fast, and wow, you're confused. And so we all have some sort of dysfunction that we can't fix, right?
Absolutely.
If we can't hear the calls.
Absolutely.
So if you're out there today, again, go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say.
Quit saying that, because I don't know what they say, but I know that I say go to thrivetimeshow.com/clarity.
You know what they say. See a broad to get that booty yak 'em. Leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em.
Thanks. That clears it up.
Wow.